Hello again, Setch here, and welcome back to the 5th installment, although it may not be uploaded in that order, the 5th installment of my starter YouTube series, just looking back at some of my replays in War Thunder Arcade. My friend Longshot tells me that I need to rely less on the replay system and fraps more aggressively, or record more aggressively live during gameplay. And I've been trying to do that, but it is a huge commitment to keep track of that much data on a session-by-session basis. And somehow, in spite of the fact that I've been frapsing like mad recently, I failed to fraps the one game that I really want to share here. So, for now at least, here's one more replay, and this is the one where I managed to get 20 kills in the Lightning in War Thunder Arcade. And that is a challenge that I've been working on. It sort of goes along with, there's a little challenge thread in the forums. And I thought I would try and do it in the Lightning, which I think makes it significantly harder. Of course, when you're trying to get 20 kills, that suggests that you're going to be flying aggressively. And the thing that I like about the Lightning is that it has a very specific playstyle that it usually rewards, and it's not an aggressive playstyle. So those two things didn't really go together very well. And on the plus side, it made an interesting challenge, but on the negative side, I don't know that challenge necessarily involved flying to the strength of the plane. And certainly for several days this week, I've been flying much more aggressively than I normally would, and I've been getting killed a lot more than I would normally be comfortable with. And there's at least one game that I want to upload that sort of demonstrates that flying the Lightning as if it's some other plane, basically. But here in this game, I managed to get 20 kills, and I wasn't doing that. I was flying the Lightning pretty much as I normally would. I just had a very lucky game. It ran longer than usual. The matchmaking was very generous, fighting relatively easy opponents. And I had the benefit of my wingman, Arthur, who also, I think it was to my benefit that Arthur was flying an aircraft that he's not as familiar with, so he wasn't flying to his full potential and wasn't soaking up the kills as he ordinarily would. But nonetheless, we were working together really well, at least until the end of the match, where I start to get pretty greedy, trying to get my last couple of kills. And I apologize in advance for that, but I'll also point it out when we get there. But without further ado, let's take a look at the match. Here I'm diving on a 110. Relatively uncontested climb. There's a 109 climbing in the background that I'm trying to keep an eye on. But I had an easy shot on this guy, so I figured why not take it. I get the kill there. Arthur has lined up on the same person. And now I've got a Yak 7 lining up on me. I turn away from the Yak, and I'm lining him up for Arthur now. You can see I'm out of effective range. I'm pretty safe from the Yak. I'm turning, I'm climbing, I'm trying to lure the Yak to climb with me. I'm trying to keep him right about at a kilometer so he thinks he will be able to get me. You can see when he turns to zoom at me, I turn away again. I'm just lining him up. There's Arthur about to come in and take the shot. And I'm not stressing about this at all. You can see I'm looking around, looking for the next target, while Arthur lines up and takes a very easy kill there. And there's another 110. There's a lot of 110s in this match. And again, the wing comes off pretty easily. There's the 109 in the background that I'm sort of concerned about. But not a whole lot of competition for altitude, and since I am working with a wingman here, I'm not as concerned about losing altitude to a single opponent. And in any case, the 109 dives on some friendlies, and so now we have uncontested ownership of altitude. And I can see a couple of dots. Oh yeah, there's a PBY that just spawned. Arthur is already ahead of me. And here I do what I should do. I see that Arthur's moving in. Arthur takes a shot. He sets it on fire. I start to turn away. I thought I saw the fire go out. It's still on there. I take just the briefest little shot, just to get myself an assist, and then I turn away and let Arthur have his well-deserved kill there. Now the two of us are once again in control of the situation. No immediate threats, we're just patrolling around looking for targets of opportunity. And a couple of Avengers pop up at the bomber spawn, and I immediately cash in on them. I'm typing in chat at this point. I just went to see the Avengers, and shot them down. But that is going to be the last that we see of any sort of challenge for the next couple of minutes. Arthur, I guess, manages to swoop in. Oh yeah, he takes a shot on this P-36. The P-36 manages to evade. So I come in to take a shot at the P-36 as well. I see out of the corner of my eye something climbing at me, which is Javanori climbing in his P-400. I just shot down his Avenger, so he's coming up trying to get revenge. You can see him trying to get a shot, stalling, so I do a little bob and weave as I'm approaching the P-36. Just I couldn't really see exactly what was coming up at me, but I knew that it was somebody down in the clouds who had a pretty poor shot, and I was just trying to make sure it didn't come off. And you can see his blue smoke down in the clouds there, so not this time. I see another PBY spawn, but Arthur's already moving in that direction, so I commit down into the clouds, maybe to find whatever shot at me, but my view in-game was pretty much the same as in the replay. I couldn't see anything, so I'm diving in blind, just fishing, and a biplane pops up, and I take that. I didn't go into this game in the mindset that I was going to go punk biplanes, but but if it wanders in front of my guns, then I'll pull the trigger. There's another SBD at the bomber spawn. Arthur is already in a much better position than I am. In any case, I think that one dives out. And indeed it does. So once again, Arthur and I have we've won altitude, but it's starting to get really quiet up here. And indeed, I think for the next maybe 2 minutes, we don't see any action at all. And we eventually decide to dive on in. And you can see here, I'm just diving blind into the clouds here. This is somewhere near the enemy fighter spawn. I'm just looking for any targets of opportunity, since Arthur's already got the bomber spawn locked down. But nada. Nothing. Not a sausage. So at this point, I'm trying to decide what to do next. I think Arthur is the first one to really start committing down below the cloud level, and I follow him. Arthur flying in his F6F Hellcat with the Friday the 13th logo. My P-38 is dressed in the Yippee color scheme. There were about 10,000, just shy of 10,000 P-38s built over the course of the war. They started production just before the war began for the U.S., and it was in production through the entire war. About the 5,000th P-38, if I remember correctly, was dressed in this garish, bright orange-red color scheme. Obviously a non-combat paint job, more of a sort of factory showcase. But it seemed appropriate to me, since in attempting this 20-kill challenge, I had been flying it in this sort of hyper-aggressive, berserk way that felt unrealistic to me, even for arcade mode. So it seemed appropriate. I was just having fun with it. And he's lined up on a P-38 and annihilates it in a very brief attack. And there's Arthur just illustrating how vulnerable the P-38 is when it's attacked in plan form. It's an all-metal fighter. It was fairly resilient in real life, and in game it can deflect bullets pretty well when it's being fired at directly from behind. But if you hit it from planform, from overhead, it just melts or catches on fire, really, from every conceivable port. And it also has some fuel tanks on the G model that didn't exist historically. So I'm diving here. I see a dot in the clouds. I don't think I actually know that I'm diving on a biplane. But, again, won't pass up on a kill when it wanders in front of me. I'm climbing back up. But targets are looking increasingly sparse here, and Arthur's now diving down pretty well into the cloud deck and below. Just to light up this cycle. And I've just been zoom climbing into a hammerhead up above the fight. When in doubt, climb. So I've just been looping around up here. And now I'm deciding to come down and join Arthur. Now, he, I believe at this point, just made an attack on that F2A, but missed it. And I'm zooming down too, unaware of the fact that Arthur is returning for a second attack, so these are actually his bullets, and I sort of steal a kill there from him. I see this hurricane. It's not pointing towards me, so I take the kill. I generally try as hard as I can to avoid head-up attacks in the Lightning, just because the Lightning itself is such a big, easy target that it can win heads-up, but it rarely escapes unscathed, except against very lightly armed targets. But when a target like that, and also like the Avengers we saw earlier, if I get the sense that the target is not going to take the shot on me, then I'll take a shot from an approaching angle. Take a little bit of a risk that they might turn at the last second. Another 110. Here we've got an A-20, and I'm just sort of braving the guns here. Not the best firing angle, but I'm just trying to keep the enemies, keep processing them as fast as I can, and I'm liking the fact that this match is dragging on, and I'm thinking if we can just keep killing their attackers, maybe we can run up the score a bit here. And here we have two enemies tracking on a single target. There's such a mess here. I'm just sort of firing into the melee, and managed to set one on fire, and then I catch the 112 over the top of this arc. Yeah, we're in the furball now. You see these chunks of airplane falling in all directions. But I'm still above and outside of the worst of it. And again, not coming straight at the little... It's a pretty small furball at this point. Not many people left in the match. But I don't drive straight into it. I dive into it from above, get a kill, wind up stealing that person's kill. You have to plan your attacks a pretty long way in advance, and here Arthur is under fire from F2A. Not under very concentrated fire, but it's managing to follow him over this loop. So I go to line up on that, but the I-16 gets that kill, so I clear his tail. I switch targets and kill the Hawk. as I was saying, you have to plan your attacks pretty far in advance, and in that case, by the time my shot was arranged, I had already committed to a target that was... I would have preferred to take a target that was clearing someone, but I wound up with a target that was already under fire. Arthur is cleaning up this Dauntless. And I'm just climbing over the fight and looking for new targets myself. And I've managed to isolate a Heinkel 111. Unfortunately, it has a little bit of dive speed, and I'm having trouble catching up. I'm firing from long range, beyond indicator range, but haven't managed to do much to it yet. Oh, crap. So I just saw another bomber fly past me, but I'm already committed. The 111 turns, so that makes it easier. Now I can catch him. I missed one attack opportunity because my cannon was out of ammo. Thanks to arcade mechanics, that reloads, so we're back into the attack, and one is down. I was going for the attack on this P-36, but right as I'm about to take my shot, Arthur sets it on fire, so I break off. Don't want to take the kill from Arthur. And here we have Tamumu, our last remaining ally, after fighting a valiant defense, outnumbered. He is finally picked off by the gunner of a Blenheim. And now it is Arthur and me against the world, 2 versus at least 10. And since the beginning of this match, we started out the match with a relatively positive, or quite positive, matchmaking distribution. We've had a pretty good run on this match. The strongest enemies I've noticed so far were the P-400s, so we've always had that advantage, but that's offset by the fact that we are hugely disadvantaged numerically now. And even though we have killed a lot of enemies, including biplanes and the like, the enemy air fleet still includes Hawks. There's a Lag 3 up somewhere, and Beaufighters. Any of those things can be a threat to us. Not this Heinkel. No, that's a free kill. But there are plenty of things that are still serious threats to us here. And at this point, I swoop in to strafe a Hawk who is just trying to land. That's pretty much par for the course in War Thunder Arcade, but in any case, I want to apologize. First of all to Arthur, I'm pretty sure that would have been his kill, but also to the pilot of the Hawk. He played well, his score was already settled, he was going to be counted as a kill for somebody, and he was just trying to have a little dignity in defeat by landing his plane safely. And I cashed in on that for nothing more noble than to run up my own score at the expense of my wingman. So I'm not proud of that. But that's what happens when you get too focused on running up your score. And I'd like to think that in the future I will try to focus more on flying well. But for whatever I deserve, karmic justice is upon me in the form of a BF-110, a Messerschmitt 110, supported by a Buffalo bearing down on me. At this point, the entire enemy team, has decided to focus on me. About half of them probably see me with a little skull in front of my head. Arthur is moving to support me. I am outrunning these guys, but as you can see, when we look from the enemy team's perspective, they outnumber us just hugely at this point. I'm only really tracking those 2 targets that are chasing me, but in fact we've got at least 4 fighters moving in on us directly, with more in support further away. And I've managed to get my speed and my rate of climb up, and I'm pulling away from the 110. Arthur is forcing him to brake. I come around. Arthur peels off. At this point, I'm typing to Arthur in chat, I just need 2 more kills. I gotta have 2 more kills. And I want to go after that 110, which I now realize Arthur hasn't finished, but I have to brake because at this point I realize here comes this bowfighter, which you couldn't quite see. It's one of the few points in this replay where the lack of labels really starts to matter. But there's this bowfighter trying to take a shot at me from below, just getting focused from all directions now. But as you can see there, the bowfighter did stall right after taking a shot on me, and I sort of sensed that. So I flip around and start to descend on him. Arthur sets him on fire, but as you can see there, right as he made that pass on the bowfighter, Arthur himself got his own elevator clipped, and yet he stays in the match and keeps fighting. So here I'm looping up over the bowfighter. Arthur's already got him on fire. The bowfighter is coming back around on Arthur. It's Arthur's kill, but I don't feel too bad about this one. I mean, mostly I just want to kill here, but I'm also supporting Arthur. And here comes, oh shit, another BF-110. In fact, I think this is the one that just got Arthur's elevator. But I make a snap judgment and do what I think is probably the right decision here. I realize that even though the 110 is right on my 6, in fact I have more energy. I'm pulling away rapidly, so all I have to do is keep evading, and in a few moments I'm out of weapons range. That's one of the things about the P-38 is you have to know when to just trust the speed of the plane to get you out of trouble and not panic. But speaking of flying with brass balls, here's Arthur. In spite of the fact that one of the fundamental control surfaces has been blown entirely off his aircraft, is coming around as best he can to give chase to the Messerschmitt Bf-110, and armed with nothing but a bluff, he's trying to fake the 110 out and get it to turn around and chase him instead of me. And it works. Even from 6 kilometers away, the 110 feels the pressure and it turns to face Arthur. So I immediately wheel around, I put the nose down, I get my speed up as quickly as I can, and I'm trying to close now on the 110 and save Arthur. Arthur is not going to be able to evade at all without his elevator. He's turning away to try and drag the 110 and stay alive as long as he can, but he's depending on me to take this shot. I'm trying to put pressure on the 110 from a distance. I'm firing stealth. But the 110 sees that it's in trouble, it turns, but it's too late. I get the shot, and that makes 20 kills in the P-38 Lightning in Arcade. And so there you have the exciting conclusion to a pretty interesting challenge, getting 20 kills in War Thunder Arcade mode in the P-38 Lightning. And would have been interesting if we could have won this match somehow. At this point, it's already a foregone conclusion. Arthur and I have managed to beat away the last remaining fighters that were attacking us, but we're still badly outnumbered. There's more enemy fighters out there, and more importantly, enemy medium bombers out there in the clouds. And our tickets are running down fast, and they'll run out before we can even find any enemies at this point. So that's the end of that match. And I don't know what my plans will be in the future. I'll try to record more games in Fraps at runtime, and hopefully eventually War Thunder Gaijin will improve their replay feature so that it's the visualization is a little more accurate. But anyway, in the meantime, it has been a lot of fun flying this mission and narrating it and sharing it with y'all. I hope that it's been fun to watch, and I will catch y'all next time. Such out.